In this video, I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how to cut and sew this simple two-piece sheer top with a scrunchy sleeve and a free short. So this dress is from Lola's Closet on Instagram. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button. So let's dive right into today's video. So to start, here is my pattern. So I'll start with marking out my starting point, which I'm marking out 1 inch first before drafting out my pattern. So I'm making this for someone and I'm not going to be using my measurement for this pattern. So for this dress, I'll start by at -5. So the person I'm making this dress is a bit on the smaller size, more like a teenager. So I'm going to mark from the 5 inches. I'll mark the bust point, mark the waist point, which is 15, and then I'll mark the top length, which is about 18 inches, and I'll add extra 1 inch to it for folding allowance. Now I'm going to go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to draw a straight line at these lines. So after I'm done marking out this line, so when you're making this dress, in front of your dress, you'll mark extra 4 to 5 inches allowance. This is to create room for the sheer or smoky effect on the dress. So after this, that is where you'll be taking the measurement of this dress. So for mine, I used 4 inches extra. Now, since this top is not getting to the hip, it is stopping above the hip. So the measurement you'll be using to cut this dress is your bust circumference divided by 4 and you draw a straight line. So I marked it at the upper part and at the lower part of this pattern. I'm going to go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to draw a straight line. The next step I'll take is to go ahead to cut this out. Now we're going to use this pattern to cut for both the front and the upper part of this dress. Now going over to the scrunchy sleeve of this dress, we are going to actually draft or cut this on the actual fabric of the dress. So for that part of the dress, you can actually fit it on your client or yourself when you're making it after you're done making your dress, or you can take the measurement from one side of your chest line to your neckline and to the other end. So I'll be drafting out that when we are actually making the dress. Now moving over to the short of this dress. Now first you need to get the length of your trouser of your short. Now I'm taking -2 from it because I'll be replacing it with my band. Now for the length of this short, I'm using 17 inches and I'm adding extra 1 inch for folding allowance. Remember, I'm making this short for someone that is not that big. So I'll just mark this measurement to the end. So after taking this, I'm going to go ahead to place my ruler and I will draw out a straight line on that point. Now after I'm done marking that, the next step you're going to take is the hip circumference divided by 4. So in this case, you will not use the actual hip because this dress is slightly, the short is slightly free. So you're going to like measure your hip in a way that is going to be free. So whatever you have, you're going to divide it by 4. So I'm just going to go ahead to mark to serve as a guide first. That is the hip measurements that I measured. Just like I said, make it free around the hip area, right? So I just marked it to serve as a guide. There I divided it by 4 and I went ahead to place my tape to mark as a guide. So now from that point up, I'll mark the hip line. So when I was placing the hip line, I'm supposed to place my tape like -2 off before marking the hip line also. But it doesn't really matter because this is a free trouser, so it might not really affect it. But if you're making like a fitted trouser, you also have to like take your tape -2 before marking that. Going over to the crotch, to get that is to divide your hip circumference by 4 and add additional 1.5 inches. So before marking yours, -2 inches from it. So I -2 inches from mine and I marked it. So let's say if yours is 11, if you -2 inches from it, you have like 9. Now if yours is like 10, if you -2 inches from it, you have like 8. I'll mark the hip circumference divided by 4 and after marking that, just like we have marked earlier. From that line now, I'll add additional 1.5 inches to my measurement. You can also use 2 inches. This totally depends on you. This is just to add more ease and sewing allowance to your pattern. So I'm using 1.5 inches. So after this, I'm just going to go ahead to place my ruler, and I'll draw out a straight line connecting to the crotch. So after I'm done marking this, all I'll do is to go ahead to mark my front crotch extension, and to get this is your hip circumference divided by 16. Now if your hip is 40, if you divide it by 16, you have roughly 2.5 inches. Now after that, connect it up. So now you can go ahead to extend what you have on your crotch line all the way down, or if you don't want it to be that free, like very loose at the lower part, you can just measure something that is free, then mark and also add like your sewing allowance or ease to it, and then go ahead to connect. So after marking this, I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out. After cutting this out, I'll go ahead to like place this on another pattern paper so that I can go ahead to cut out the back pattern of this dress. So at this point, if you have any question, please kindly leave your question at the comment section, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I'll just go ahead to cut this out. Now let's go ahead to cut out the back pattern, but before doing that, I'll come down by ½ inch here. I just want to like make the crotch area to relax very well, but you can go ahead to use your pattern this way without taking out this ½ inch. So next, I'm going to place my pattern on another pattern paper just like I said, and I'll mark 2 inches on top. So this is because at the back you have a butt. This is for the butt allowance, and I'll take this all the way up. Now if you have a very big butt, you can consider using 2.5 to 3 inches. So for the front, I'll add an extension of 2 inches to it at the crotch area. Now I'll be marking my back crotch extension. I'll use 2 inches for it. So 2 inches works for me. I'm going to use 2 inches. Then go ahead to connect my line and connect this all the way to the crotch of the back. So after I'm done connecting this, we'll go ahead to work on the lower part of this pattern. So this is what I have here now. So I'll just go ahead to connect for the lower part. So for the lower part of this dress, I don't like the back part of my trouser coming over to the front, so I either use ½ inch or 1 inch for the back. Now I'll go ahead to connect. I'll go ahead to place my ruler, and I'm going to connect. So after I'm done connecting this, I'll just go ahead to cut this out. So for the band of this trouser, I'll go ahead to also cut it out when we are making this dress. So if you're confused on any points when I'm drafting this pattern, you can go ahead to leave your question at the comment section. So this is what I have after I'm done drafting this. So join us in our next video where I'll be making this.